Hello and welcome back to Always Right, the podcast with me, your host, Charlie Wright. Today I have a very special guest, Jasmine.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. This is your first
Wonderful.
podcast, right?
It is my first podcast ever.
How do you feel?
Very special to be selected for this podcast, Always Right podcast.
Oh, it's an exclusive club, let me tell you.
Do I get jackets? Like, do I get
Oh,
with my name on the back?
100%. I'll get my
Oh,
merch team on it.
oh my gosh. I feel like everyone does merch now. Like, you can't be an influencer unless you have merch.
Well, it's just like a scam to make more money.
True.
That's why, like, I say, have you ever bought like anyone's merch before?
Um, Actually, I don't know if this counts as merch because like it went for a charity, so I'm gonna say it doesn't. But like, have you ever watched did you ever watch Arrow? That
Oh,
CW.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so Stephen and Mal did like a t-shirt.
Oh,
And it was for like a oh, we let us swear on this, like it was for like
yes.
cancer or whatever. It was like it was like for like a fuck cancer sort of campaign.
Hmm.
And so I bought the t-shirt, but that was it. That's like I've never bought like
Yeah,
influence.
that's not really merch, I don't
Like it's not
think.
merch. No. Well, his face was on it. So like no, that
Right.
doesn't really count because he
No.
didn't make a profit on it.
Yeah, no, I mean if someone's making a profit off of what you bought.
No, I don't think I've ever bought merch. What
I
about you? Have you?
bought there's a YouTuber called Joe Santagato. Have you heard of him?
It sounds so familiar, but
He was really
yeah.
famous on Vine, but I bought one of his hoodies. And then I bought like YouTuber books.
Oh yeah. As in like, what did you buy?
You know Grace Helbig?
No, I don't. But
How do you not
my
know
sister
Grace
bought
Helbig?
Zoe's. I don't know. I'm really like I'm not like as invested as you are. I know you know a lot of them, but like
Right.
I don't know them.
Yeah, right. What did you say?
What
Your
her
sister bought what?
You was Zoella. She had Zoella's like book, and I remember reading a couple pages, and I was like, no, I just
Why?
wasn't
Why
into
no?
it. It was because like when I picked it up, I was a little bit older, and it's one of those like kind of like teen sort of like really cringy kind of books, you know.
She is just cringy in
I
general.
feel like I feel like you can't read that book unless you're like 14. You know what I mean? Like it just it wasn't it.
Right,
But you know, she
right.
made money for it, so I guess she's the one winning and not me. So
That is true. Um,
yeah. Yeah.
we should probably discuss how we know each other for my listeners who don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Jazz and
Yeah.
I went to uni together.
Did.
It was so much fun, wasn't it?
It was. It's so weird because, like, obviously our course was 3 years, and we only got to know each other that last year.
Yeah, I know. I was
I don't
talking
even
about
recognize you from like
what?
earlier years. I don't even like remember.
Oh,
It's
I
like you
recognize you. I
really?
I always knew who you were.
Was I popular? Did I?
I wouldn't say popular, but
No,
I
I wasn't
remember.
popular at all.
I remember. Oh, what class was it? Making network culture.
Yes, and you were in that massive like group, and you guys did really well. I remember.
Wait, didn't you just say you didn't know who I was before our last year? That was second
No,
year.
but like I did like we'd never spoken, like we'd never like
Oh,
interacted.
yeah.
But like
No.
I'd just seen you around, but like we'd never like we
Did
didn't
you
know
know
each
my
other.
name?
I'm sure I would have.
Because see, like I knew like your name. Like I was like, oh, that's Jazz, the one who was in what was it called? You were in JMac, weren't you?
Yeah, I did do JMac.
I think that's what I knew you for. I was like, she does
Yeah.
JMac.
I didn't do much. I was
Right,
just in it. Yeah.
right. But yeah, you were in that class making network culture. Whose group were you in?
I had I think that was when I met
Hannah?
SJ and Anisha. Is this the same subject? Are we thinking
No,
about
they weren't in that class.
Are we talking about the one where we made that massive video edit on like different film genres? Is that a different class? Uni is just like I don't remember.
It's all blur to you.
Yeah.
No,
Making
it
that
was
record.
where you had to make a hyperlink video. So like the video we made was about me walking around uni and like you get multiple options. It's like a choose your own ending.
Oh my God. I feel like it's coming to me, but it's not.
Everyone had to make like a video like that. So, and I remember Hannah Coolcell was in the class.
Oh yeah, but she dropped out, didn't she? I don't think she
She did.
stayed at. Yeah.
Hi,
No,
Hannah.
I
Shout out to you.
not. Oh my God. I don't remember. I honestly have very limited memory of anything related.
Oh, great. So this podcast is going to go well.
Were all your questions like uni related?
No, but I was just going to ask, do you remember what was your first impression of me?
I was so intimidated by you.
What?
Yeah, I was
Why?
so intimidated. I don't know. You were just so like charismatic and so sure of yourself. And like you obviously had a lot of friends. I was super intimidated. I was like, oh my God, Charlie's so cool.
That's the first time I've ever heard that. My God. That is so funny.
Because and like obviously like we'd had whatever subject it was when we had to do that film genre stuff. Do you remember that one?
I don't know.
It edited it all together. We watched Fantastic Mr. Ripley in class.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
So
like
that was
I remember
screen and sound.
yeah, but your
Something.
project was incredible. And like I think for me, uni-wise, like if I didn't know someone personally, I based their personality off what their final product of their assignments were. So if someone had like a good final product, my instant like first impression is, oh my God, this person is like way too good to even like acknowledge me. So like instantly intimidated.
No, Jazz, you got to have more self-confidence. Come on.
It was a different time. It was a different time.
It was a different time. I'm trying to think of my first impression of you. So yeah, like I had always seen you around and knew who you were, but then I remember we were talking about this the other day when I saw you. That thing where I was interviewing you for a Vox Pop or something.
Yes, yeah, I remember, yeah.
But I couldn't remember like what it was actually for.
I think
But
it was
yeah.
about sexual harassment, wasn't it? Or like it was something to do with
Oh,
the
it
Me Too.
was. Yeah, it was. But we were in the same class for that, weren't we?
Yes, yeah. But we were in different groups and I was just helping out. I think.
Oh, that's right. You were in that other group.
The other group. We don't discuss that group anymore.
On this show, I always like allude to things because I don't want to say people's names. So I'm like, oh, you know that.
That thing.
Yeah. Oh, so that was like the beginning of our last year.
Yeah.
So that was like when we first like became friends because I remember you, SJ, Jenna, and Alicia were sitting on a table outside of the Indian place.
Oh yeah, because I think Nuts About Teller's like right around the corner. So
yes. You were like at those little tables. And I think Jenna was like, oh, you should come here and just like chill. And then I came over. And I remember I always have this weird thing where like sometimes when I'm like where I'm with a group of people, but I haven't met some of them or I've never spoken to them, I only end up speaking to the people that I know. And then, but in my mind, I consciously am like, oh, I feel like I'm being an asshole because I'm not speaking. And this is what I felt about you and Alicia, because I hadn't spoken to you or Alicia yet.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I feel like an asshole. Like I'm not like including them. Like I didn't. Because I remember that, like, I never formally was like to you or Alicia, hi, my name's Charles. Like, we didn't have an introduction. We just kind of like,
this is me.
Yeah, we just like became friends.
My name.
Whereas, like, with Jenna, I remember saying to her, like, my name's Charlie, and then we introduced each other, but I guess it was all just natural. And then we did some fun things at uni.
We did. Uni was a good time.
You're like, such a liar. You hated it.
No, I did hate it. Okay, look, the difference is education-wise, absolute trash. Like I've completely like blocked out anything, any like technical skill. Like I don't have it anymore. But like friendship-wise, like I've just held on to every memory. Like
yeah,
you know yes. Like I definitely hated uni, but like my memory of like moments like that are like there. But like if you asked me how to do something on a program, I would be like, no.
But that's also because you didn't have any interest in it.
Yeah. But like how bad, like imagine like doing a 3-year course knowing you're not interested in it and then still continuing.
Then why did you keep doing it?
Fear.
Fear of what? Like you couldn't be bothered transferring courses.
Yeah, like just fear of change, you know, like I don't know. That got deep really quick.
Oh,
Anyways.
I love to get deep on this podcast. But I was gonna say we did a remember it was terrible.
Mm.
That thing was it on we recorded on your birthday because our birthdays are similar times, but
Yeah, Libras. Woo.
I know, right? But we recorded that thing for producing media
Yeah.
where we did it in the what's that thing called?
Hub.
My brain. The
Hub
hub?
studio.
No, no, no,
Editing.
not the studio, the one in the Agora.
Yeah, the hub.
The hub. Yeah,
The
we
hub, yeah.
recorded that thing on your birthday and I remember like we had not prepared and we were like the hosts.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes, yes, yes.
And I
Yes.
remember like we hadn't planned anything and in my mind because I had been like the host on the Upstart show for like the whole semester. In my mind, I was like, oh, well, I've been on camera like every week for the whole semester. Like, I'll just be able to like think of something like on the fly and like make it up because like
Yeah.
we didn't really have a script.
No, we didn't.
And I remember we got on there and we were just like, I remember it was awkward. We were just like, so this is the next video. It was very, very awkward.
I feel like that was me every week though when I hosted.
Oh yeah, you did host on
I did host, yeah.
your show.
The
What was
morning
your show
journal.
called? The Morning Journal?
Yeah. What a cute name.
That was a cute name. Is that how you became friends with everyone? Or were you like friends with them prior to that?
Prior. So I think so I met Jenna and Alicia like the first like week or so of uni, but like
Oh, yeah,
we never
yeah.
like reconnected after that. I remember meeting SJ and Alicia in the one when we did the screen and sound,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't remember how I met Jenna, but I think Jenna was close with either Alicia or SJ, and then
I
we
think her and
connected the dots.
Alicia were like friends like from the first day.
Yeah, which is so bizarre because like Alicia and SJ went to high school together, and Jen and I went to like high school together, and then
Yeah.
like we just like clicked. Like it was a very weird like it just came together like, and it made so much sense. But like it was bizarre that like a whole year and a half of uni and we'd never like connected the dots until like
True.
one
True.
class. Yeah,
But you and Jenna weren't in the same year level at high school, were you?
no, she was a year above.
Yeah, that's right. I
Yeah,
always forget that she was the year above. Because you
it was her
graduated
birthday.
high school in 2015, right?
Yeah, which is when you
Same.
would have graduated. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I always forget that she was a year ahead.
I know it's always like bizarre when someone's birthday is like early March and they're the same age as you. Like you just automatically
Yeah.
that like the year level is the same.
Yes, very true. But are there any parts of uni that you miss?
Nuts about Teller. I miss that so much.
That's it.
The food. I miss the food. I
I
think
miss the food.
I miss the food. I think I miss like oh God, I don't even know. I think I just miss the feeling of knowing that I went to uni, having that like routine.
Mm,
And like I miss not having like direction. Does that make sense? Like I feel like once you're out of uni, there's that expectation of like, okay, now what? But while you're at
yep.
uni, you have that like, yeah, you have that freedom to like not know. And you can be comfortable in that not knowing.
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like a lot of people at uni, like I know a lot of people who were in our course who were like, oh, like I hate this. I want to get straight into working. And I was
I
just
never,
like, no, I love it here.
yeah, I never had that feeling either.
Yeah. I mean, like, obviously I do like want to work, but like I just loved the vibe at uni, like getting a coffee and just chilling outside.
I know.
I miss the vibes, but I do have to say, I am so glad that we graduated when we did and we didn't have to like be at uni during COVID.
Oh no, like my sister's doing it and I'm like watching from a distance, like, well, I'm lucky I'm not you. Like I'm just like it just no.
You'll see, I'm starting my master's in like 2 months and I'm like,
Congratulations.
do I want to be doing that now? Because like 90% of it's online.
And I feel like with uni, all the motivation is from the vibe. Do you know what I mean?
I agree. Totally agree. And I'm just like, how, especially when like you're doing a course that's media and like you have to be a lot of things in person, practical stuff.
Yes.
It's like,
Yeah.
how, I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen.
I think you'll be fine. I think you'll
I'll
manage
figure,
it. I think
I'll figure it
you'll
out either
find your
way.
routine.
Yeah, true. Um, but is there anything about uni that, like, one thing, because I know you hated a lot of it,
I know.
one thing that you didn't like? Just one.
One thing I didn't like about uni. God. I think I'm trying to think like, do I want to be academic? Do I want to talk about like academic wise or like social wise? Um, One thing I didn't like about uni. God, can you start? Can you go first? I need an inspiration.
Um, I was gonna say I feel that our course in particular was too general. Like it was too.
Okay.
I've talked about this a lot with Kelsey and Bridget and a few other people we went to uni with. We just, you learn a little bit of everything, but I feel like you don't learn enough about each of them. It's like jack of all trades. So like we
Yeah.
did
Okay.
like, you know, I mean, we did a lot of video stuff and a lot of editing, but it's like you kind of had to just figure out how to edit on your own time,
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I would agree.
which
Yeah.
is, I don't know how they would improve that though, because like you can't sit in a class and them teach you how to edit for like 3 hours every day. So I get that, but it's just like I feel like it just should have been more specific. But I guess when the course is media and communication, that's kind of
So
general,
broad.
so
Yeah.
broad anyway. But yeah, that's what I didn't like.
I feel like something I noticed about like that in general is like the teaching was so like you said, like if you wanted to excel, you had to put in your own amount of work, you had to do your own research, which is fair enough. I mean, like there's that expectation that no matter what you're studying, that you're putting in the hard work
Totally.
outside of the classroom. But I feel like for us, especially with the stuff we were doing, we don't have access to all of that equipment at home.
I
So you have
know.
to put in that extra time to physically be at uni.
That's
Um,
the problem.
yeah. And I think another thing I hated was that I just feel like for me personally, I did a lot of journalism work. So I know that your one was more media, but like I ended up falling into that anyways because I found that with journalism, it was very just like there was just no niche part of it. It was just
Hmm.
news. Like what's newsworthy to me might not be newsworthy to someone else. So, that teacher's marking that work as, well, that's not important or that's not valuable. But to me,
Yep.
that's valuable. To me, that's interesting. So like if it's just very hard to like have like I feel like it's very hard to have a personality. Does that make sense?
It does. I think the worst part about like media or like kind
Mm.
of creative stuff is that it's so subjective. Sometimes I'm like, I wish that I could just be like a doctor or something. And it's like when you take a test or something, it's either right or it's wrong, but there's none of
Yeah.
that in media. Like it's like if they're marking you, it's their own subjective opinion, which I hate. But like, again, how else are you meant to mark it?
I know, and like you can never are gonna agree with what the teacher thinks because if they think like creatively the direction you've gone in can be different, that's like a personal attack. That's not like you
Oh,
could reword.
totally. You take it very personally.
I'm a sensitive human. Um, yeah, like I remember saying to my friend, like I miss being in Year 12 bio and having quick check questions and a textbook. And they're
Hmm.
like, what? Like, no, because their course was psychology. So there's answers, there's logic, there's
Right.
logistics. Like there's no like, it's just very different. Yeah, I think you have to be a pretty tough cookie to do our course.
I think so too. Or more so like, well, I feel like our course was very easy, but that's also because I enjoyed it. Like I loved it.
Yeah.
But do you
Yeah.
think it was easy like in general, even though you didn't like love it?
I think it was I do think it was easy. Like I look at other people who have like exams. We don't have exams. You know what I mean? I think it's easy in terms of the coursework is not um too difficult if you're paying attention.
Yes.
And it's
But
a
I
lot of group
think,
work.
yeah, way too
So
much
it's
group
easy to
work.
like, yeah, that's another problem. It's very easy to like sit back and let the other person do the work when you come up.
Yeah. See, I feel like because it was so easy, the more difficult part is after you graduate trying to like find a job. That's where it becomes the most difficult. Whereas like
Yeah.
doctors, lawyers, like you have clear pathways into a job. In our course, you
Yeah.
didn't. So people out there, if you're thinking of doing media and communication, I would recommend you do it, but you just have to be prepared that you might not get a job out of it. Like me.
And I think you need to go into it um knowing like what avenue you want to go in. Do you know what I mean? I think you should test the waters with everything. But like if you find that you're doing that course and you're not, nothing's like pulling at you or nothing's like coming at you, like it's going to be really hard. Like you have to at least find something you like in it.
Totally. And I think early on, if you find one specific thing that you like, you should just practice it, learn the
Stick with it.
skills, get better at it. And then when you graduate, you will know more. That was my problem, I think, because like I look at Jenna and I'm like, she's always loved editing.
Right?
Like she always wanted to do editing. And it's
Yeah.
like, I just didn't have that because like I like all of it.
Oh,
Like I love video stuff and I love like being behind the camera. And I mean, I don't love editing. Editing's a bit draining, but
yeah, tell
it's
me about
just
it.
like you can't really. It's like there's too wide. Like the job pool is too wide. When you
Yeah.
just generally like stuff, you have to be specific, I think.
Maybe like for future they should just like abolish the whole media and communications and just start making like small little courses. Does that
I
make
think
sense?
that too.
Yeah. Editing
Totally.
3-year course or like a, do you know what I mean? Like that way you can actually like practice what you want to do. Because if you're doing editing, you're still going to have to write a whole
Oh
lot in a
yeah,
media and communications course. Someone who's editing
totally.
is not going to enjoy that.
No, but
You're going
see,
to
like
struggle.
it's hard because like those courses do exist, but it's like TAFE things or like it's you don't really get a bachelor's. I don't know. I just think because our course had different majors, it's like,
Mm,
why didn't they just make each major a new course, a new degree?
right,
I
right,
always
yeah,
thought that. I was like, I don't really get. I get because it's all media, but like just make it a new degree where you focus solely on that, and it's not.
yeah.
Anyway, just me complaining. Um,
That's okay.
but I was going to ask you, how have you been coping with the pandemic?
Oof. Okay.
Sorry to get deep.
Oh gosh. Okay. So I struggled with it because I was just like really anxious. Like my anxiety level around COVID is quite high.
Mhm.
I know a lot of people, it's very weird because like I feel like a lot of people in my life don't have this fear, but I'm generally afraid of not catching it off someone, but having it and giving it to someone. So I was like
Ah,
taking it really seriously. Um, I think I've been tested like 5 times all up.
wow. But
That's
that's
which I
good
feel like
though.
is a lot. I know, like I'm doing the right thing and whatnot, but like I'm testing it. I'm getting tested for validation. Like I know I'm completely fine. I have a tickle, and I
Right.
know I have a tickle because I'm constantly like checking if I have one, and I know it's
Right.
psychological. So I really struggled with that. It's a lot better now. I feel
Mhm.
quite safe. I feel quite comfortable. Um, Isolation, I didn't hate it, if I'm being honest. I kind of enjoyed being
Because you work
alone.
from home, right?
And I was stood down for 3 of those months, those first
Mm,
three
that's
months.
right.
I powered through Grey's Anatomy, powered through Buffy. Like, I really wasn't bothered by like being at home.
But when you
But
were
yeah,
stood down, were you like stressed about?
nah.
Oh,
Like, yeah, I should have been, but I generally just wasn't.
right. That's a good attitude to have though. Because like I guess in a pandemic, it's like, well, millions of people like don't have jobs. So
I was too afraid of like giving it to like my whole family to be worrying about working.
true. True.
Plus, I think yeah, I don't know. What about you? How'd you cope?
Well, I obviously had a very interesting experience because I was in Spain when it all went down. But
Yeah.
I think I think because it was so well, I don't know if horrible is the word, but in Spain, like when we went into lockdown, it was just me and my roommate in my apartment.
Mm.
And like we just like did nothing for like 8 weeks. And
That's
so
amazing.
because that was so boring and so
Mm.
draining, like I think that and like it was difficult to make the decision to come back to Australia because I was like, oh my God, we have to get like 2 different flights. And like I don't want to be on a plane right now. And like I don't want to go to the airport. And
That's
but then
scary.
and then when I got home, I was like, I am glad that I did all that because like it was bad here, but like at least I like at home. At least I'm
Yeah.
not in a foreign country and like
Oh
freaking
yeah.
out about like what the hell's going on. But
I
it's
would not
just,
have been okay.
yeah, I handled it pretty well, I think, because it's just so crazy to think about because when it was first happening, like I remember I only worked like 4 days a week at the school that I worked at.
Mm.
Um, so I worked Monday to Thursday, and on the Thursday in March, like the day before like the lockdown went into effect, we were in class and the teacher like got a text and the teacher was like to me, oh, we just got a text from like the government saying that we don't there's no school for 2 weeks. And I was just like, oh, okay. But and I was just like at the time like, oh, okay, it'll be fine after 2 weeks. Like
Mm.
it'll just be
Mm.
all good, it'll be fixed. And then she like the teacher was like, when I finished school for the day, the teacher was like, okay, well, bye, everyone. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Never saw them ever again because,
Wow.
and then it was like 2 weeks. And then when it got to the end of the 2 weeks, it was like another 2 weeks. And then eventually it was like permanent, no end date.
How long were you there while COVID was going on?
Well, I think that the first cases were in Spain. I think it was in like January something. But
Yeah.
like it's just so crazy to think about now. Like we would like talk about COVID like before like it became a pandemic. And like I remember being with my friends at a restaurant and we were like listening to this group of people like speaking Spanish next to us about
Yeah.
coronavirus. And
Yeah.
now I think about it, I'm like, it's so crazy how like cavalier we were and like we just had no idea it would become this.
I know. Oh gosh. Yeah.
It's so bizarre. But like no one ever thinks that this is going to happen. Like no one ever
No,
thinks you're
of
going to
course
live through a
not.
pandemic.
Of course not. No. I mean, like I remember like swine flu and stuff, and that was like what, like a month?
Yeah,
Like
true.
that was
But
like nothing.
but I feel like I don't know. How do you feel about like how the government has like handled COVID?
Honestly, like I really like just didn't engage with a lot of it. Especially towards the start. Um, I don't think they handled it the best. I don't think they handled it the worst. I mean, like I look at like when I just think about like Melbourne personally and how much we like suffered in terms of our lockdowns,
Oh
I
yeah,
think that was like proper fucked. Like when I like look back, like we couldn't even go outside for more than an hour. Like to me, that sounds like crazy, but that was what we lived through, right?
yeah.
Um, but then I look at things like I'm on TikTok and I'm looking at, America and I'm thinking, oh gosh, I'm lucky we're not them. Like, how
I
privileged are
know.
we to have not lived, to have had experienced it that way? Um, Government. I don't know. I'm not really into politics very much, if I'm being honest, Charlie. Not because I'm generally just too stupid to understand it. Like,
No, you're not stupid. But I
no,
just
but like,
think it's hard
mm,
because like no government is like prepared for a pandemic. And it's just kind of like, well, maybe they should have been.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Because like there obviously there've been massive pandemics in the past,
yeah,
and it's like I don't know if I was a prime minister or whatever, I would just be like, well, you have to be prepared for
for these things.
anything. Yeah,
Yeah.
but they just weren't prepared. But I do think Dan Andrews like fucked up with the
Oh,
hotel
definitely.
quarantine. That whole situation, big mistake. But
Mm.
I do think that like the lockdown we were in, I mean, it sucked, but like it's good now
Good.
because,
Works. Yeah.
it had a massive difference. And like one of my
Yeah.
teachers from my school in Spain texted me yesterday
Mm.
and was like asking how I was. And I was just like, oh, like what's the situation over there? And like the area that I like, the region that I taught in, she was like, it has the most cases in Spain now. Like it's just getting worse
God.
and worse. And I was just like, well, glad that I left when I did, because like,
Yeah.
yeah, because when my roommate and I left, we had like waited a really long time, and then I was like, oh, what if when we leave, everything opens back up and everything's fine again? And then I think like on the day that we left, like the lockdown was like kind of lifting, and then we were kind
Yeah.
of annoyed. We were like, oh, why? Like we're
Like,
leaving now and everything's opening
yeah.
back up again. And now I'm just like, thank God that we left.
Yeah. How much longer did you have of your trip if like COVID was not a thing? Like how long do you reckon you
Oh,
would stay?
I think that we left in the, I think it was the end of April,
Mm.
March, April. And I think that the contract for my job ended at the end of May. So it was only like another 4 weeks.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
But still, it was kind of annoying that
Of course it would have been annoying.
that
Yeah, it would have been frustrating.
that all happened. But it's a good story though.
I know, true. Tell your kids that one or something like that. I lived through a pandemic and I just made it out of Spain and blah 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 blah.
I know, because see, I do you ever think about like in the future, like if you have kids, it's like, well, I lived through a pandemic, kid. What have you lived through?
I know, like they're gonna have like textbooks about this sort of stuff and like they're gonna ask questions,
No.
they're gonna have an assignment, they're gonna be like, Mom, can I interview you about like COVID-19? It's like, oh gosh, that thing. Well,
That thing.
I
But
don't
it's
remember.
just, it's interesting to think about, because I just think like, obviously it's horrible and a lot of people have died, but
Mm.
like, I feel like you have like a, what's the word? A sensationalized view of a pandemic. Because when you hear pandemic, you imagine like bodies in the streets and like,
Yeah, right, right.
like
Like the plague.
like the plague. Like that's what you
Yeah,
imagine. And I'm like, it's obviously it's not as bad as that. But and I do think obviously because we're in Australia very privileged to not have the kind of chaos that they have in other places. So I guess
yeah,
that we have a different view of it, because I guess here it's kind of annoying, whereas in
yeah,
other places it's like deadly, it's like lethal.
yeah.
It's
I get
just
what you're saying.
it's just a very different view to have. But anyway, moving on
Yeah.
from the pandemic. Um I have some questions for you. Are you ready?
Yes, go ahead. Yes, yes, yes.
What are you doing? So you're gonna sip your
I
tea?
have a candle and it's like near my water bottle, and I was like, that's plastic. Like I can't afford to burn down my room.
Yeah,
So
no,
I
don't
just
do that.
had a quick check of it, make sure it was all good.
Okay.
Mm.
If you could live anywhere in the world for a year, where would you live and why?
Oof. Okay. It would be somewhere in Europe. I feel like maybe Italy or possibly
Mm.
like France. I don't know, something kind of uh like romantic, and I'm romanticizing it a lot. Like I don't know, something just that feels like I get up in the morning and I walk to my cafe and I have a croissant, and then I go to work and I walk around this nice giant water fountain that's like really beautiful. Do you know what I mean?
So
Something like that.
in this like fantasy where you're living somewhere else, you still have a job.
Yeah, I'm employed.
Ew, I wouldn't be. In my fantasy, I like don't have a job, but I
What do
like
you do if you want?
I
Are
go to the
you like a
cafe every
corporate
day
life?
and no. Like mine's the
No.
same as you. Like I think
Yeah.
I always say the south of France or like
Mm.
Florence in Italy or somewhere, but I just like want to like walk around an art gallery all day and just sit and
True.
have coffee. Like I
Yeah.
just want where I don't have to work. um,
Even like something like a cottage or like a small like nice European town
mhm.
where everything's in walking distance and I ride my bike everywhere and my skin's glowing and I
Oh,
look like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like just
that sounds
inside and out,
amazing.
completely glowing. You know, like no stress.
That's the dream. That is the dream. Okay, next
Yeah.
question.
Okay.
What is one trait that you don't like in other people?
Okay. That I don't like. I have to kind of think about this one for a second. Something I don't like about other people. I feel like maybe people who brag a lot. I know that sounds bad.
Like,
I don't like. I completely think that you should be proud of yourself and you should have confidence. But I think there's a difference between bragging and or like people. Actually, no. Can I change my answer? People who okay, people who like bring themselves up by bringing others down. That and it's always like
hate that.
really, and it's always like really subtle. Like you don't pick up on it for like months before you're like, this person actually makes me feel really crummy, and then you figure out kind of why.
Yep, I
Yeah.
totally agree. My answer always changes when I ask these questions to
I feel like
people.
there's so many. Like, how do you pick one?
I agree. I used to say like lateness.
Oh, I'm late for everything.
I know you are. Um, but that does like, and then I also said like people who don't reply to messages, which you do that sometimes
Oh,
too.
I do that sometimes too, but that's one for me too. I think another like I wrote a list the other day because like I've been on TikTok a lot lately, and like I wrote a list of things that people do that make me not trust them.
Oh, read it.
Okay. Right, here we go. People who don't like breakfast food.
Mm,
Okay. People who upload selfish photos to social media. So that's like you're in a group photo, no one's looking, someone's face is like completely like morphed, but you look really good and you upload it anyways.
hate that.
Like
Just get someone to take a photo of you on your own. Like,
exactly. Or like just don't upload it. Like no, like just don't.
I
Like
agree.
ugh. People who only wear shorts during winter. Do you do that?
Yes,
Why aren't your legs getting cold? Like
because they're covered in hair.
okay.
I
Maybe
never wear
it's,
pants.
maybe it's that I just don't trust men. Like
Yeah, that's probably it.
people who don't put their shopping trolleys away irks me to my core.
What do you mean? Oh, because you worked at Coles.
Yeah, like when you would go, because like I would park there, like obviously I would work late night, so I would park and then I would find a shopping trolley like right next to my car in a scratch because someone
Oh,
hasn't bothered to put their trolley back in the trolley returns bay.
I
It's
hate
like
that.
such a simple task, just put it like. What else we got? Someone with no or little sweet tooth. I don't trust people who don't like sweets.
I
Even
agree
just
with
like
all
a
these so far.
yeah.
Not the short one. Everything else, yes.
I don't trust people who don't try my recommendations.
That is such a big thing for me too. If I
You do?
recommend
Yeah.
things to people and like I find out that they don't do it or like they don't care,
Like even like look at it.
yeah,
Like
I
if I
totally
suggest a
agree.
show and I describe it and they're like no, or like they won't watch the trailer, or they
Mm.
won't bother to like hear out what it is, I'm just like, why don't you trust me? Like why?
See, you know what's
Why?
funny is that like I always strive to tell the truth, but in that situation, I'm like, if I recommend something to someone, I would rather they say, yeah, I'll try it and never speak about it again rather than them say no.
Oh no, because it's like a person. It hurts your feelings. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. And then my last one was people who are over welcoming or offer to host all the time.
why, why do you not like that?
Because I found that, like, general, like, you know what it is? It's just this one person that I don't like who did that, and now it's just
Right.
like she was just like overly like, come to my house, like I'm gonna do this or I'm having this like every week, and then like I took that as everything's about her and not. Does that
Oh
make
my
sense?
God, that's me. I do that. Although, but
No, but
I
I
don't
think
do it like I try not to make it about me, but I am always just like, yeah, we can just have it at my house because I feel like no one else wants to have it at theirs.
that's very different. Like
Okay, right.
I feel like if generally your house is the comfortable meeting place for
Yes.
multiple reasons, like maybe people aren't always home
Yeah.
or you have more freedom or something like that, it's a little bit different.
Hmm.
But this was in terms of like, I'm gonna host this thing so I can show off A, B, and C, and so I can have this
Ew.
many people on my Instagram story. Do you know what I mean? Like
Hate
like
that.
yeah, very different. But yes, that's my list of reasons I don't.
Okay. So now, what's one trait about yourself that you don't like?
Oh, I could talk all day.
That's what
Um,
Alicia said. She was like, "Oh my god, I'll be here all day."
one thing I don't like about myself. I feel like oh god, there's so many. I feel like I I to- I don't know. I don't know where to start.
Do you want me to say
Mm,
one about myself?
Yeah,
Sort of.
maybe you say one first. Yeah, I get
Um,
shot.
I can't remember what I say in my other words, but I think like, oh, that I'm very reactive sometimes to certain
Really?
situations. Yes.
I don't think
But
that's necessarily a bad thing.
no, I don't think it's a bad thing either, but I think sometimes I just don't think. And sometimes I just say things and I'm like, oh, I definitely should not have said that. But so that, but then also I'm thinking recently that like I I was thinking about it the other day and now I can't remember what it was. Maybe it wasn't that good. But no, that I can be very rude to people. But
See, I don't see
I
that.
I don't think that but it's not like it's never intentional ever.
Mhm.
It's just
Okay.
that I sometimes can be very like blunt and I can have a very monotone voice and
Okay.
people are like, "Oh, yeah, wow, you're really rude to that person." I was like, "What? Like what?
I've
I
never
no,
seen
I
you be rude
wasn't.
to anyone ever.
No. I don't think that
I've
I
never seen it from you.
yeah, it's never intentional. It's just that I don't know. If I'm in a bad mood, you know what I've started to do now?
Mm.
I'm becoming very in touch with my emotions as I am getting
Oh, I
older.
love that. Yes.
Um, I'm like, if I'm in a, I did this the other day. I was at my dad's house in Echuca and he had a friend over. And I hadn't eaten all day because my dad didn't have any food. And I was like
Yeah.
in a really, really bad mood. And so
Justifiable.
yeah. And so I was speaking to this friend and I said to him, oh, I'm just going to be honest. I'm not being rude. I'm just in a really bad mood because I haven't eaten all day. So I apologize if I'm like very blunt. And then he was like, "Oh, okay, that's fine." And then the next day he was like, "Oh, like how were you after yesterday? Did you get some food?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I did actually. Thank you." I'm just like verbalizing how I actually feel instead of being like, "Oh, I'm fine." I'm like, "No, I'm actually not."
I think that's a good way to go about things. You know what I mean?
I
I feel
agree.
like people would appreciate that too as well. Because I
I
know,
think so too.
yeah, I feel like a lot of people will have interactions with anyone and like will like assume that someone else's behavior is a reflection of how they feel about themselves and not how that person feels about. Am I making sense? Like, like
No.
if you're in an interaction with someone and like you're hangry, for example, and like
Mhm.
you might snap, I'm gonna assume that it's to do with something that I've done or I've said instead
Yes.
of just your internalized hunger. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Exactly.
So
No,
I think
that's why I'm starting to do that because I'm like, I don't want them to think that it's them or that I'm annoyed
yeah,
by them. I'm like, it's
yeah,
me. It has nothing to do with them. But anyway,
yeah.
a trait that you don't
My
like about
one. I thought
yourself.
of one. I am slowly getting out of this, but I have noticed and I've been told that I can be very codependent, like extremely
Mm,
codependent. I think it comes from the anxiety stuff,
hmm.
but in terms of like if something goes wrong at work, the first thing I have to do is tell someone. Like I can't sit with something, a thought or a on my own. Like I have to vocalize it, I have to tell someone, I have to reach out, which is like weird because a lot of people their issue is that they don't reach out when something's
Hmm.
wrong. I think my issue is like I
True.
can't self soothe. Like I can't talk myself out of a situation. I need someone in
Right.
my ear telling me, "No, it's okay," or "Don't stress."
You need validation.
I need valid always, and it's a really bad trait because
Interesting.
yeah, I'm trying to get out of that.
But
It's gotten a lot
at least you recognize that.
better. Yeah,
But see, I
yeah.
feel like even if you do recognize it, do you feel like even if you're in a situation where you're like stressed, can you like focus on that and be like, I don't need anyone else right now. I'm just gonna do it myself and figure it out? Or do you still
Mm.
feel like you need someone else to help you?
Um, I feel like I've noticed it a lot at work. I had you get like a yearly like review or whatever, and they assess how you work and stuff, and it all went amazingly. Like they said great things, but obviously they have to critique you to some point. You know what I mean? And
Right.
my boss said to me, he's like, "You do this thing where you ask me questions that I know you know the answer to, simply so you can get that validation." Like he's like,
Right.
I know you know the answer. He's like, I know you don't need me to check this, but you do it anyways. He's like, why? And so I've been making a habit of doing work and not asking stupid questions, because like they always say no question's a stupid question, but like sometimes they're stupid because I know that the answer.
Right.
So I feel like I'm getting a lot better at it for sure. And I think another thing I've been doing is like when I come up against a problem, I'm like writing down how I solved it, so that like
That's
if that
really
arises
good.
again, I know that I don't have to ask again because I've already done this before, and I just have to look through my notes to see like
That's
how did I think.
a great strategy. I should start doing that. That's a really good idea. What's a
Yeah.
favorite trait in other people?
Um, I guess just kindness, I guess, or something like I feel like I should pick something more specific. Um, something about oof, something about another person that I enjoy. Um, okay, people who recognize things that you struggle with and offering to do them so that you don't have to, if that makes sense.
Mm.
So, for example, if someone knows that I'm not a confident driver in the city, they'll offer to drive so that I don't have to feel uncomfortable.
I love that. That's very specific.
Yeah, I have good friends. I feel pretty
Yeah.
lucky. What about you? What's yours?
um.
Right.
Oh God, it always changes. I think I used to say that, like, when people are honest.
Yeah, that's
I think actually that really is, because I feel like sometimes I get in situations with friends and like I can tell that they're annoyed, and I'm just like, if you're annoyed, just say that you're annoyed, but they won't do it. And I'm like, it annoys me. I'm like, how do you expect to resolve an issue or like get past it if you don't own your feelings? I think everyone has to own their emotions.
I definitely agree. I struggle to connect with people who can't talk about how they feel about anything.
I think
'Cause it's-
actually in general, people who just can't converse. It's like if you don't engage in the conversation, like I'm not going to want to speak to you ever again.
Yeah. And like it's really hard because like obviously like with my knowledge of like, I don't know, anxiety or whatever, it's understandable that there are people out there who have really severe social anxiety. So
Mhm.
like they might want to talk, they might want to have a conversation, they just don't know how to. So it's like I think
That
it's
is
I think
true. But
at our age,
I mean more like just like rude people who aren't interested in what you're talking about.
yeah.
Because I do have sometimes
Manners,
have like social
another one.
anxiety in situations, and I'm just
Yeah.
like I don't want to embarrass myself by speaking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I that is true though. You know what? I should think about that more if I'm speaking to someone and they like aren't engaging. I should
They
really
might
think
be
about why they
they
don't want to
might.
engage.
How hard is life though? Like seriously, like you can't just like you have to start thinking about these sorts of things. Do you know what I mean?
True. What's a favorite trait you have in yourself?
Um, I think um I think I'm a very good friend.
Hmm.
I think I'm very good at I'm a very clingy person. So like I feel like I'm really good at being there for people because I'm so clingy. So I think that's what I'm gonna say for mine.
That's good
Yeah.
though.
Right.
I think that you are very um cooperative. Like I feel like uni when we would do things like
Mhm.
if we had ideas or like on how to do things, like I don't think you never like complain or you never like I don't want
I
to do
think that's
that.
because I'm a pushover though, not because I don't disagree. It's because like I'm not capable of having a disagreement with someone in any capacity whatsoever. It's just easier just to say yes for a lot of
Okay,
things.
so maybe that's not my favorite trait in you.
That's no, like I've noticed with like a lot of my friends, like they say that same thing. Like I'm just very like happy to go with whatever they're interested in doing.
But does that annoy you to hear
No.
that about yourself?
I mean, I feel like it should, but it really doesn't. Because like it's not like I'm in a situation where like they're peer pressuring me to do something I'm not interested in. Like these are very small things. Like if
Mm-hmm.
say I feel like they want pizza and I feel like Ty, I'll be like, oh, we'll just have pizza then. Like I'm just very like
But would you
I'm a bit
never say, I want?
no.
Never.
I mean,
I
like I'm
think you
sure I
would.
have.
I think
I
you
yeah.
would.
I guess it depends on the person.
Oh, yeah. Depends
Yeah.
what you're doing, who you're with, I guess.
I think I'm very open to things. I'm not. I won't say no to someone if they have an idea or they want to do something, or I'm happy
That's a great
to do
trait to
that
have.
with them. Yeah.
What's
I
my
think for
favorite?
me, I think your one is that you're honest because I find that people struggle to be honest with me because they know I'm so sensitive.
Do you think
So
I'm honest with you?
I think so, yeah, and I think it's a good thing. It's
Yeah.
very refreshing.
I I remember when we had dinner the other day,
Yeah.
we were talking about, I won't say what we were talking about, but we were talking about something and then I said something like just very honestly and you were just like, oh, you're right.
You're always right.
Oh, always right. There you
Oh my
go.
god.
Yeah,
Oh
but
gosh.
I do like in myself that I just don't have like inhibitions
Mm,
about a lot of things. So it's like if I don't like something, I'm gonna say I don't like it. And if I do like it, then I'm gonna say that I
you
like
like it.
it.
I think you're a lot of fun as well. You're a good person to be around. You have good
Thank
vibes.
you.
Very good
Well,
vibes.
not everyone thinks that.
Well, screw them because they don't know what they're talking about.
See,
Charlie's a good
it's
time.
oh my god, thank you. It's so funny because like I have like such a like warped perception of myself. I feel like I say this in every episode. So sorry people if you're listening and you're bored of me saying this. But I always think of myself as being like really antisocial and like really like introverted. And then my friends will be like, you have 10 million different friends and
The complete
like
opposite.
yeah, and like it was my sister's 21st the other day and I
Yeah.
took my friend Addie to her birthday
Mhm.
and like and I hadn't been to a party like since before lockdown.
Yeah.
And I get there and I was like, oh, like this is gonna be like, oh, like I don't know how to socialize. And then we Addie and I were just sitting, and then I just saw this guy and I just stood up and I immediately went, hi, my name's Charlie. What's your name? Like, how do you know my sister? And then the next day, Addie was like, oh my God, you were just talking to like everyone. And I was like, was I? Was I talking to? I don't know how to talk to people. And she was like, yeah, you do.
It's like something takes over.
It does because I'm like, I just don't like silence. I love speaking in case everyone hadn't
Yeah.
noticed. But anyway, what is your favorite scent?
Anything sweet. I like sweet scents. Like
Like,
I'm talking like sickening, like vanilla, caramel, strawberries. You're making a face.
I hate
Strawberries and
caramel.
cream. Oh no, I love it. I love sweet scents. I want to feel like I'm in a dessert bubble.
What's that scented candle? What scent is that?
This one's vanilla cream.
Ew.
Yeah, no. And like I feel like lately my perfumes have kind of changed a little bit. I'm liking a little bit more of the fresh sort of scents for summer.
Mm,
Because I know like musky perfumes are a bit of like a hit and miss.
yep.
But like I like sweet smells.
Right.
You don't like
I
sweet? You
I
like clean?
prefer like earthy, like
Really?
flower. I like floral scents, but I think more like pine, like
Naturey sort of smells.
naturey types of
I feel like
things.
I'm not too picky with my smells. I just don't want it to be like too clean, like where it smells like a bathroom. Do you know what I mean? Or like a
Yeah, I
hospital.
don't like the one that's like clean linen. I'm
No,
like,
what is clean linen?
no.
Like if I wanted that, I'd smell my fucking linen. Like you know what I mean? Like
Yes. Oh my God. Do you know what's one thing that I will always remember about you? I don't know
oh
where
my
we
God.
were, but no, it's funny.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember. where we were, but I specifically remember you saying that you wash your sheets every week, and you
Yeah.
saying that like you have to do it otherwise like you can't sleep or something.
I mean, I do wash my sheets every week.
Where did you say that? I don't
I
know.
don't know. Well, how often are you supposed to wash your sheets?
No, I wash my sheets once a week too. That's why I
Yeah.
remember it, because I feel like a lot of people don't.
Mm. Well, I think the thing is, like, I fake tan. So, like, even if I
Ah,
don't sleep in the fake tan on my sheets, or even if I'm just sitting on my bed, I just feel like it just stays. Like that shit just like inhibits wherever you go. Like it's like soaked in my bedroom walls. Like, that's,
yum. I do feel
um,
like girls in general have to shower. Or not have to. Girls don't have to do anything they don't want to do.
no,
But I mean I mean like do you feel
I
like
know what you're saying.
yes.
I know what you're saying. There are different showers for different things. There's like, okay, you've got to
I've heard
exfoliate.
that. I've heard
Yeah,
that.
like different showers take different amounts of time. You know what I mean?
And like your hair situation in the
Mm,
shower. Is that always
yeah.
something you have to like think about?
Yeah, it's really like, lockdown was great because I didn't have to think about that sort of stuff. But like, you shouldn't wash your hair more than like twice or something a week, they
Yeah.
say, which is not a lot. I wash my hair, I think, like every second or third day.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's like you have to plan your hair wash routine with your week's plans because say you've got plans on Saturday, you'd want to have your hair clean washed. Do you know what I mean? So it's yeah. There's a structure.
Interesting. My struggle with washing my hair is that like do you have like naturally oily hair, do you feel like? Or dry
Um,
hair?
I have a very dry scalp, so I'm constantly like scratching, itching, or picking. That
Right.
sounds really gross. So my hair
No, no,
gets
no.
oily very quickly, if that makes sense. So my scalp's actually dry, but
Hmm.
I'm constantly touching it, so it gets oily. And I've got bangs now, which those
Yeah.
things are just greasy as fuck. Like they grease up real quick because they're in your face and you're touching them, and you've got
Oh,
sunscreen on. Sunscreen's getting in your hair, and
true, true. I just always
you
feel like
have good
after I
head of
wash, I have a thick head of hair. Is that what you said?
yeah, you have good hair.
I do, but I feel like every time I wash it, it just feels like straw. It feels so dry. But I feel like
Yeah.
normal people, when they wash their hair, it feels better. But my hair feels worse.
Maybe you'd need like an oil or like like a mask, like a hair mask or something once a week. That might help out.
Interesting. Because my hair is naturally very oily. And so I
Mm.
guess like when I wash it, like all the oils are gone. And I'm like, what
Yeah.
is this hay bale on my head? Um
How was it getting the blonde out?
Oh, well, it grew. Well, my hair grows so fast. So, like,
Grew out.
it grew out heaps. And I want to go blonde again, actually. But
Spike vibes.
yeah, exactly. Spike
Yeah.
vibes. But it's just too annoying to maintain.
Mm. Did you
Like,
have to use like purple shampoo and stuff too to like keep the
I
tone?
did.
Yeah.
Well, I did, but I didn't do it that often because in the beginning it was very orange. And then it
Mm.
went really like silver. And then I
Mm.
think I bleached it again after that. And then I just used purple shampoo and it was like
Yeah.
white blonde, like the right color. But it's
Yeah.
just like, who could be bothered maintaining it? Not
It's a
me.
lot. It is a lot. And it's so drying and it's not good for your hair, but
Yeah,
it looks
shocking for your hair.
good. Did you
Have you
feel
ever
good blonde?
you've never been blonde, have you?
I've got blonde in right now, but you can't really see it. It's like caramel. I literally did it the other day. I went to the hairdresser. Can you see it?
Oh, it looks like silvery kind of.
Maybe it's very warm toned, but I'm probably not picking up. It's very minimal. But yeah, I had blonde. Never been fully blonde. I feel like that would just look very weird because like I'm like it's just wog. Like there's no hiding the wogginess of my face. Like I could dye my hair as blonde as I wanted and I would still look as masso as it gets. I feel like I could never go blonde. But I like being a brunette simply because I am like so intimidated by blondes. Like blondes, like I just have a lot of trauma from blonde hair. Does that make sense? I've had too
Right.
many bad experiences with blonde people, so I always stick to the brunettes.
Right.
It's like
Right.
okay, I have to tell you this story. I was talking to this guy once on Instagram, and we were talking about Gigi and Bella Hadid,
Hmm.
right? And I said that I personally find Bella more attractive, right? Which is controversial. Most people generally find Gigi more attractive.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. She's got the softer face, but I think it's just because Bella's a brunette and I'm like traumatized of the blondes always winning over myself. So I always pick the brunette. And then he said to me, no, Gigi's like way more attractive. And I was like, oh, okay. And he was like blonde hair, blue eyes. And then the what emoji is that? How do you describe that?
Oh, like perfect.
The perfect emoji, like blonde hair, blue eyes. And I was like, you do
Awkward.
know I'm like a brunette with brown eyes. Like we've been talking for like 3 weeks. Like it's not like you don't know what I look like. He was like, that's my preference. And I was like, then what the fuck are we doing here? Like
I'm assuming it didn't go anywhere.
it did not go anywhere. No. I remember reading that and being like, surely not. Like,
My
who says
God.
that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
wow.
Insulting.
I was I was gonna bring up. Do you remember when I don't want to get too into specifics because
Okay.
because this person might be listening. But do you remember when you, me, and SJ were in a
Mm,
booth
mm,
at the library at uni?
mm.
Do you remember you don't remember what I'm talking about?
No, but keep going. I'm invested now. Can't we just like
And
edit this out if like it's
no, I hate editing it. I'm just gonna like dance around it. And someone came to see us in the booth,
okay?
and
Mm.
you sent me a message while that person was sitting next to me and said, I know this person.
Okay, yeah. Why can you send me a message now I'm telling you who it is?
Okay, wait, I'll send you a message.
Oh
Because
my
I
god.
was gonna allude to what this person's name is, but
What did
it was
it
like
start
too
with? Oh yes. Yeah, what about him?
No, I was just gonna say that was very awkward.
Oh, when I messaged that I knew him.
Yeah, because he was right next to me and I was just like, okay. And then in my mind, I had a moment where I was like, I should say, hey, don't you guys know each other? But then I was like, no, I
Well,
can't.
we didn't like I only knew him because he had like a mutual friend and we had only spoken a couple times and he was a
Right.
little flirty and I think he walked me to my car once.
Okay.
But that was all I knew of him. Like I didn't
Okay.
yeah.
If this
But
person's
yeah.
listening, like you're a great person, but that moment was just awkward. Anyway, let's move on.
I wonder what that person's doing. If you are listening, I hope you're well.
I have him on Snapchat. He's a cool guy.
Oh, I I have
Maybe
not
you should start speaking to him again.
maybe.
Anyway, moving on. My last question is: do you have any favorite Masso food?
Um well see the thing is, okay, so I was talking to Alicia about this. So for some reason, people don't seem to think that Massos have like any food. Everything I
Why?
told Alicia that I liked, she's like, no, well, that's Greek. And I'm like,
Oh, I
no.
see.
Do you know what I mean? So I feel like at the end of the day, like European food, like it's all the same. It's just like a lot of oil. It's just oil.
A lot of meat.
A lot of meat, a lot of potatoes, a lot of oil, cucumber, tomato, feta. I like Musnik.
Oh, what is that?
It's like a I don't even know how to explain it. It's like a just like pastry with like different types of cheese inside of it. And it's
Oh,
usually like round and like they make it on like a big table. It's like really, really, really big. And it takes a long time. And that's about like I don't know how to describe it, but it's really
interesting.
nice.
I'm gonna have to try it. What about what's it called? All I can think of is like Greek food. Is there like a spanakopita type thing? And
That's kind of like what Musnik is. It's like a
oh,
pastry sort of thing. We have like what's the other one? Musnik. There's like another one that's very similar to that where it's got like a spinach sort of onion sort of like filling.
oh,
Yeah,
yum.
which is
What
quite
about
nice.
like Masso desserts?
I don't really know. Like we make like a patulitsi, which is I'm totally butchering it. I hope no massos listen to this because it's not our thing. It's like a just like a donut. Like I feel like, and it's just my baba just like rolls it in sugar. It's
Oh,
so oily, it just picks up the sugar. Um, like that. It's like a kind of like a pancake sort of. There's like that as well. I think patulitsi is like a pancake. It's like a very thin sort of crepey sort of texture, which is quite nice. And you just
yum.
literally just that.
That sounds really good. I need to try
I
some of
I
that.
need yeah, and like maso food's literally just like a lot of pork or graf. Graf is my favorite. It's literally just beans.
Oh.
Graf. It's just beans, but it's so good and bread.
Oh.
And a lot of like pork and potatoes and like there's like a salad. I forget how to pronounce it, but it's just like cucumber, tomato, onion, and then like it's just like sprinkled feta on top of like a grated feta. That's really nice.
Yum. Well, that sounds like good food.
What about you? Do you have like any sort of favorite like ethnic food? Are you a fussy eater?
Well, I mean, apart from being a vegetarian, no.
Yeah, but like there's nothing like a type of like cuisine you wouldn't.
Well, I love Korean food. I had Korean last night. Oh my
What's
God, so good.
I feel like I'm really uncultured. Like if you said Korean food, I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Well,
Like
it's like noodles and I love kimchi. Have you had kimchi?
no, what
It's
is
like
it?
fermented cabbage, which I know sounds really gross, but it tastes
Oh, yes, yes,
amazing.
yes, 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 yes. I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I love Korean food. I love Indian food.
Yeah, I made a curry
Oh yeah, you
the other
said you
day.
burnt your tongue on it.
Yeah, on the top of my mouth. It's very sore.
Oh, we love that. Yeah, I remember like the food in Spain was not great. It was just kind
No,
of like
what's Spanish
very
food?
like bland.
Hmm.
I remember we had like a end of term party or something with all the teachers, and all the food was like lettuce with oil on it, and like um they love manchego cheese. They eat that all the time.
Oh God, I
And
don't
just
even know.
like tomatoes and just like really bland. I remember when I got there, one of the teachers was like, "Oh, if you think that like Spanish food is spicy, it's not. It's really bland. Like Mexico, a lot of spice. Spain, absolutely not."
I feel like when I think of Spain, like I'm like, I just feel like culturally, like I have like no idea what is like specific to certain like places.
Yeah.
Like I would think that like it would just be like such like colorful food with really strong flavors.
Nope.
Like that's what I'm picturing.
Well, I maybe because where I was, it was like kind of not in the desert, but it was really like dry, arid type, like really bland. So I guess maybe they don't have like, and I remember like going to the supermarket and stuff.
Mm.
The fruit and veggies were just not good. I feel like maybe in like Madrid or Barcelona or somewhere, because it rains in the north of Spain a lot. I imagine they probably have better food than in the south where
Yeah.
it's really dry.
Yeah. Not interesting.
It is interesting. But anyway, so this episode is finished now. Jazz, how did you enjoy it?
Yeah. Oh my God, that was so much fun.
And this
That
always
was so much
happens.
fun.
I always look at my phone and I'm like, oh my God, I've been speaking to this person for like 2 hours or something.
That was so much fun. I love this.
I'm
I'm
glad. Come back on any
if
time.
you want me.
I always need guests. You and Alicia can come on at the same time.
Oh my God, how fun. No, but I love to talk to. Like this for me is something I would enjoy. I wish I did podcasting at uni. Like I feel like
I
I would have loved
know.
to do this at uni.
I
Where was this?
know. But yeah, do you want to plug your social media? You don't have to if you don't want to, but
Oh, well, I don't really accept people unless like
oh, are you
I
on
know them.
private?
Yeah, I'm on private.
I do
Every
this
time I go, yeah. What were you
every
gonna say?
single time I have guests on. I'm like, do you want to plug your social media? And then they go, oh, I don't accept people. And then I'm like, are you on private? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, okay, well, I shouldn't have even brought it up.
Actually, I just went onto my Instagram and I'll text you whose photo I did. But like, you know how like I can't show you. Like, you know how it's got like the save button on the right
Yeah,
hand
yeah,
corner.
yeah, yeah.
I just saved someone's Instagram post from uni. I'm gonna text you whose it was.
Accidentally or on purpose.
Yeah, and I just
Oh.
I
Wait,
just
but do people
unsaved it.
see that?
I don't think they can see who did. I think I can just see how many saves it has.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's right.
Or like if you send someone,
That's how
he's a
random.
great guy.
He is a great guy.
He's
I told you, I love how we're talking about people, but like not saying their names. Anyway,
don't know who it is.
yeah, you don't. To my listeners, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Charlie Wright, but Charlie has 2 R's in it. And you can follow the show on Instagram at Always Right Podcast. But Jazz, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for
Anytime you want to
having
come
me.
on, you know.
Okay. I'm excited. I'm coming back. I will
Okay,
return.
great. Everyone, you have something to look forward to. Okay, bye.
Bye, Charlie.